Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to make these adorable fall nautical rope pumpkins. We're going to start with the supplies. We're going to need a foam pumpkin, some sharp scissors, a hot glue gun, lots of hot glue sticks, and then we're going to need a little over 2 packages of this nautical rope. Completely optional are these maple leaves to top off your pumpkin. Now let's get started. Okay, to begin, we're just going to remove the tag from the pumpkin, and then we're going to remove the pumpkin stem. A little twist and tug should do it. Next, we're going to go ahead and prep our nautical rope. Go ahead and just take it out of the packaging, and then we're also going to cut off the tape at each end of the rope. To begin, we're going to start sectioning off the pumpkin with the nautical rope. Now we are not going to start in the center on the top, but we are going to end in the center on the bottom. Now you'll see me go back and forth between the different ways that I did this. For instance, just like now, I started out by gluing the top down and then measuring and cutting and then finishing the bottom with glue. And then with this next piece of rope, I actually measured first, then cut, then glued. And I kind of flip-flop back and forth between this. I think I actually prefer starting the glue and starting the rope down and then cutting, just so that I know exactly how it's gonna lay. And yeah, so I did go back and forth, and you'll see that a little bit in the video, but do what works for you. And yeah, we're just gonna keep sectioning off, and then we're gonna start filling the sections in. Once I had the pumpkin quartered, I like to start laying the rope inside the grooves of the pumpkin to further make the sections just a little bit smaller. And remember, at the very top of that pumpkin, what we're looking for is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches diameter. That's where we are eventually going to add our pumpkin stem. So here I am, yeah, just following the grooves. And none of the Dollar Tree pumpkins are perfectly even when it comes to the grooves. You can see there's quite a few on one side that are a lot narrower. So when it got to that point, you know, just kind of eyeballing it and figuring out how big of a section I wanted to work with is basically how I did that. Now that we've got our pumpkin sectioned, we're going to start by filling in each section. Now I like to work in 1 or 2 small sections at a time and then switch to the opposite side of the pumpkin just to keep things a little even. I'm beginning by laying the rope right next to the left outline, I guess we can call it, of this particular section. And then I'm going to lay the second piece of rope right up next to the right side of it. And I think working this way provides a better aesthetic for the pumpkin. You'll see it at the end, it's got a nice little kind of pattern to it. And then once this one is laid up against that right side there, we have a middle section left, and it's just a little bit wider than the width of my nautical rope. So what I'm going to do here is just twist it just a little bit, loosen it up so it takes up a little bit more space and fills in that gap. Here again, you can see me using that same little trick, just twisting the rope ever so slightly, making it a little wider so it's going to fill in that entire gap. So in this clip, you'll see I'm actually having the opposite problem now. I have a very narrow gap that I'll need to fill in. Coming up, you'll see I'll have another one on the other side, and I'll show you how to take care of those in just a little bit. So quick measurement, the nautical rope as is, just a little too wide. I had a piece of rope from the pumpkin I did prior to this one left, and I had pulled out one strand of the twine, and so the two strands that were left was the perfect width to fill in this particular gap. Now on this other gap, even this 2 twine strand, say that 3 times fast, was a little bit too wide. So I broke it down even further, and I used just a single piece of the twine that is part of the rope to fill that in. I'm going to go ahead and continue filling this pumpkin in off camera. And here we are with our completely covered pumpkin. Now we're going to go ahead and get to work on making the stem. So we're going to start by putting some glue just inside the rope here on top, and then we're going to lay the rope down on the part of the exposed pumpkin, kind of just around in a circle. We're going to continue covering up that raw edge, I guess, if you will, until we meet where we started with that rope. And then we're just going to start building the stem up and just layering the rope on top of itself. Now I'll give you a little sneak peek here. Every now and again I just kind of tilt the pumpkin down so you can see the stem. But we're just gonna glue and layer and turn, repeat. So when you think your stem is at about the height that you want it to be, I'd go ahead and do a one quick measure around and cut it. And what I'm doing is just doing one more layer of glue and gluing that rope down onto itself. And then I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the inside of the stem, and I'm going to coil up the rope just so it kind of lays just on the inside. I'm going to add a little bit more glue, make sure that it is glued down to itself and it doesn't unravel. And this is our finished pumpkin. So I really love the aesthetic looking down on this. Like I said, how the way that we had to fill in those sections, it just looks really pretty. And you can stop here. It looks absolutely lovely this way, but I did want to add a little pop of color. So I grabbed 2 of these burlap maple leaves out of that package and just glued them down right up next to the base of the stem. So this is my finished product, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.